Welcome, everybody, to Generation Dan, the only show where do I have to hang out with them? They're such a pain in the ass. I'm Atlas Novak. I'm your Who else is here with me?
I'm Dino the Genetic Marvel, and I daily do things I don't want to do. But hey, such is life. So this is the thing, right? Is that like for my own health, like I have to work out on a daily basis because otherwise I'm already too fat, and I'm trying to lose weight, and we're constantly going out eating, and I'm like, I love going out to eat. Like that is a favorite pastime of mine. However, it's like again, seriously, I'm like, it's very. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. We're doing this very early in the morning, my time. It's 7 a.m., which is why I'm still in a bathrobe. But and the reason for that is like you had to go to lunch with someone.
Yeah.
Which like the conversation leading up to where you're like, we kind of hope they don't say yes.
I mean,
which is so funny to me.
I
get it though.
Well, you know what? It's not a dig against them necessarily too. It's also like I like, hey, you want to go do something? And people are like, sure, okay, let's go do something. Oh, by the way, we can eat. Oh, okay, let's go eat. I like that kind of a outing. I'm not a huge fan of let's go to eat and then we'll part ways. And I'm like, I could just do that at home in my underwear. That's way more comfortable for me.
Wait, you're not a fan of going out to eat and that's it? Or only? Okay.
I like doing stuff and we have food to eat because those are two different interactions, if that makes any sense. So you're in trouble. Go. All right. I don't know. It's early in the morning, but hey, we are discussing it. It's the whole idea that sometimes I mean, especially when you're a kid, you always have to hang out. Oh, that's true love. Okay,
true love, definitely.
Okay, we were discussing this yesterday. If your mom made you breakfast and bacon was included, would it be crispy?
Yes, but here's the kicker: it's turkey bacon because my mom is an NPR hippie. So
yeah,
but it is crispy, so that's something.
Okay. The what we were discussing was, I'm like, if your mom loved you, it was if your mom loved you, she made your bacon crispy. Like that was just and you're like listen, I have questions with regards to turkey bacon, how much that is affected by love, but it was crispy, and that is what matters, sir. That is the coefficient we are discussing.
Here's the problem, though. Bacon, fine, whatever. Turkey bacon isn't as good as real bacon, but it's healthier for you. Sure. Whatever, fine. We can have that conversation later. My problem was that my mom sucked at making eggs. She would like keep them in the pan. She's like, the bacon's crispy. The eggs got to be crispy. She didn't burn them, but it was just this kind of like gray mass of like, it wasn't fluffy. It was like a carapace almost.
I understand exactly what you mean. Because the first few times I made eggs for myself, that's exactly how I ate them, and I'm like, oh, these are not good. These are yeah.
Here's what you're supposed to do, and I've had this conversation with my brother-in-law before. Brian, if you're listening, you know what we're talking about. But where in the Gordon Ramsay way of doing it, you're supposed to have like really low heat for a long amount of time as you do it, and you keep like beating the shit out of them.
Yes,
so they get all fluffy. I do the opposite, where it's really high heat for like 10 seconds. But it gets the same thing done where like you take it off almost when it's not quite done cooking.
Yes.
Because it continues to cook after you take it off the heat. And then it turns out perfectly. And that is the one thing I'm better at than my mom at like cooking wise is eggs. Like I will win every time when it comes to eggs.
I'll be honest with you. So last night I took a gummy before Hammered and Cheese. So by the end of Hammered and Cheese, I was
flying.
I'm like I am like I need to eat. And I told Victoria before, I said, hey, I took a gummy. I'm gonna want to eat. I want you to
your reaction to that, by the way? Is she just like, oh, okay?
Yeah, well, you know, she can't make me not have fun at all. I have to have some fun. So I schedule at a time that is convenient. We're not going anywhere. Everything's fine. Nobody's going to be weird, right?
Gotcha.
I try to make it so that she's out of the house as well. so we're not going to interact as much too. And then she's like, "Why are you doing? Don't try and ruin my fun." So last night I was like, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna want to eat. Can you just try and make sure that I don't eat garbage and like chips or anything like that?" Yeah, no problem. I go, "I may want eggs." She's like, "That's fine." So sure enough, I was like, as soon as I got after the show, we were watching a movie, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna grab. I have some bacon jerky that I eat, which is really tasty because it's like, I don't know about that. I don't know about you, but every time I've had thick cut bacon, it tastes like shit.
Whereas, no, it's too much.
It's just too much. It's never cooked right. It just doesn't work. Whereas the I get bacon jerky, and it's thick cut bacon, but it's perfect. It tastes great, and I'm like, it's thicker, it's better. It's the one way that I like thick cut bacon. Don't know why, it just is. But
yeah.
Then shortly after that, I was like, "Hey, can I have some eggs?" Which was like, "Are you sure you want eggs?" And I'm like, "Yes, I want eggs." And that's that. And normally I eat boiled eggs because maybe I'm gonna say this. It's I like a soft boiled egg, and I'm like, I have like between 4 and 6 a day because
you're Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, apparently.
That's 100% it.
The what's it called? With soft boiled eggs, I usually like them with something, like usually like Japanese food. A soft boiled egg with your poke bowl or something. But hard boiled eggs I eat more as like a thing of necessity, where it's like I have to go do something today that involves a lot of moving.
Yeah.
And they're in like eating a hard boiled egg takes like 5 seconds. Yeah. So, and fucking launch that guy into the sun.
So, well, and this is the thing is I'm like, I prefer like scrambled eggs or poached eggs or something like that, but boiled eggs is healthier for me because there's no oils or anything like that. And then I'm like, but a hard boiled egg, I'm like, if somebody gives me a hard boiled egg, and I'm like, did I do something wrong to you? Like, what? Why would you do this to me?
And like, again, it's a necessity thing, right? Where you're just like, 100%. It's less messy,
And that's why. So Victoria, she was like, "Hey, what do you do you want me to boil eggs?" And I'm like, "No, it's faster if she does a scramble." And then so I had 6 scrambled eggs, and she does them Gordon Ramsay style, kind of low and slow. And
yeah, but I mean, if it works, it's just like I don't got that kind of time,
Well, regardless, it ended up they were fantastic. It was also like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm eating 6 eggs, and I'm just like, because she does them with garlic butter and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's a good idea. I should try.
Yeah, well, because it's so for people to know, the Gordon Ramsay way is you melt butter in a pan at low heat, then you put in eggs with a little bit of cream. The cream I use for my coffee is whipping cream, so it's very thick cream.
Yes,
and that way they're extra fluffy. You throw them in, and you just keep it slow, and you just keep on moving, constantly moving them, and then they become just cooked. So they're kind of gooey, but not gooey. And also when you do it, so this is the difference, is when you do it low and slow, you're less likely to have stuff caked onto your pan, which is a pain in the ass to clean. Whereas when you do it fast, you have to move a lot faster to make like you can still do it. I can't because I'm slow as shit.
That's true. But I'm sure I'll get to that when I get older, for sure.
Yeah. And you know what? Yeah. When it's time sensitive, you're very much like, yeah, like that's the other thing too, is when people are like, "Oh, we have to go do this thing," and I'm like, "Well, do we have to be there by a specific time?" People are like, "Yes," and I'm like, "I don't want to go. I want to go when I want to go, just because."
Yeah.
Like also, we are very much like we will go for like an early bird supper. Like we'll eat around like 3 o'clock, just before any crowds come. I'm like, yeah, because I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to.
I love that someone in the comment section goes boomer talk, and it's like, yeah, kind of Gen X, millennial. That's the show. Like,
I honestly feel that I've learned so much more patience in the last few years. Maybe it's just because I'm in my 40s. I'm not sure, but I'm very much kind of crossing like. My laziness versus taking time to do things have just kind of hit this perfect interaction where I'm like, hey, I can do stuff. I just take my sweet ass time and I do it. And it's very reasonable. And that's
I had an interesting conversation with Katie the other day where she was saying that like the difference between her parents and my parents is her parents are in the autumn of their lives and my parents are in the winter of their lives. And I never thought of like looking at someone's life as a full, set of seasons. And I'm like, what does that make us then? And she's like, I think summer, because you're in spring from birth to, up until you get married or some sort of major life shift like that. What happened here? We're talking about the things that like those social obligations you don't want to do, but you do them anyway.
Like when you arrive at a party and you go around and shaking people's hands.
You, Josh,
and if somebody doesn't shake my hand when they enter a party and I'm there first, we're not friends anymore.
Yeah.
It's over.
I do have this problem. This is just like a me thing where, hi, Victoria, where,
thanks, Josh. We appreciate you.
Where people I'll like roll my eyes at like the smallest little thing. It's like left over from being a teenager. And to the point where Katie's like, when we have kids, you got to knock that shit off because like they'll pick it up very quickly. And I'm trying really, really hard because yesterday the school she works at had this fundraiser and they had me as, and they have an auction at the end. And they had me as the auctioneer.
Oh, well, that's a way ahead. I assumed Katie had signed you up for slave labor at some point, and you were going to get out.
Like normally it's one of the parents, but last year there was like a snafu with that particular parent. So they're like, she's like, you're up, and I'm like, okay. I've hosted comedy shows before, like that's not too far off.
Yeah.
And she's like, listen to me, you cannot mess this up and she was like just piling on the like.
Yeah.
The not restrictions, but just things of like, don't do this, don't bring this up, to the point where I was like, this isn't even fun anymore.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. Yeah.
I ended up having fun anyway because
you're a fun-loving guy.
Yeah, or just like I'm good at hosting stuff. Like even in the realm of stand-up, I love hosting because you get your 5 minutes and then you can add a tag on to whoever comes, and then you keep the shit moving. But
I was talking to a bunch of veteran comics, and I said, I think people are doing it wrong. They're like, what do you mean? I said, I think you should opener, then learn to be a feature, then learn to be a host, then learn to be a headliner. And they were like, that's 100% true. You're like, you're absolutely right. That's exactly how it should, because you're like, being a feature means you can do time. Being a host means you can do that's a way bigger expansion of your skill set, whereas feature to headliner, you're like, being a host kind of fills in all the blanks you need to be a headliner, because weird shit will happen. Sometimes your entire set will get derailed. Sometimes you have audience gold that you're like, okay, everything is out the door, we're talking about that, right?
Yeah, we're talking about this. Like that actually kind of happened where it was like it was like a little like, oh, one of your kids gets like a quote date, which is one of the teachers takes your kid to like Color Me Mine or something.
Okay.
Right. And the parents can buy that. And for one of the directors, she has a particular name that is pronounced a certain way. But as I was speaking quickly, like an auctioneer would, I like forgot a letter. Yeah. So it changed the name. I'm like, I know what her name is, but like Katie and a couple other people were like, it's this. I'm like, I know it is, but I'm speaking quickly, but it almost tripped me up.
Oh,
but I was able to like recover and get back on my feet and do the rest of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. The hosting skill set is interesting because I was supposed to be your feature when we did the shows in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of became the headliner by default, which was fun. But yeah, then I started doing hosting stuff more when I got back to LA. And yeah, it really is like a good skill set to have, because your job is to be like the cold open to the stand-up show. Hey, quit watching the NBA finals for a second. And then like if one of the comics like eats shit or whatever, it is your job to get the energy in the room back up. Turns out I'm pretty good at that. So yeah,
that's a big deal. So what people don't understand is that you're like, if your host is spending more than a minute and a half between comics,
they're doing it wrong.
You failed, because anyone, you're like, listen, my job is to number one, keep the show going. Number two, keep it relatively on time. And number three is to bring it back in case someone shits the bed.
Yes.
Those are your three jobs.
You get one tag. That's it. One tag if they did well. If they did poorly, you get like one little bit to try and bring the room back up. That's it. That's all you get.
Yeah. That's why you're doing it wrong. Every time it has to be, if you're doing one of your own bits, you just it has to go immediately for the fences. There's no, I'm gonna lead up to no, that's not, that doesn't work. Right. And that is the crazy part about it, is that you're like, yeah, as a host, I have to listen to your set because I'm gonna tag your set. Right. Like one of the best hosting things that I did was when it was a young guy who was which
sit and watch.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's also because I like to go out and smoke, and I'm like, do I have time for a smoke? I'm like, unless it's somebody who's doing a longer set, I'll listen to their beginning and their end, and then go for a smoke in the middle. But we were a guy went up, and it was his first time. I think I told you the story. It was just one of his first few sets. This was so the second time doing it, but his first set that he had planned out.
Okay.
And he was off from a native reservation, and
that's pretty cool.
It was he did a great job. He mildly racist, very enjoyable.
Mildly racist,
entertainingly so.
Sure. Yeah.
And then when I come up on stage, I'm like, "This is your second time doing it?" He goes, "Yeah, it's my first second time doing it." I'm like, "I think it was good. If anything, I'd say it was savage." And he was like, "Oh," I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, because that's a funny joke.
Okay, yeah,
but, that is good. But it was everyone laughed about it because I'm like, you guys got to understand, like, because I like to tell people, I'm like, listen, Greeks were enslaved for 400 years. It stopped 40 years before the Emancipation Proclamation. That's not ancient history. That is recent history. That is not a long time ago, and people forget about that kind of stuff. I'm like,
if it's after the Renaissance, it's technically the modern period. So yes.
So
there it is.
And hilariously, there was a regular at this bar, and he was an Irish guy, and he was like, "Hey man, we were called an N-word up until the 30s," and I was like, "I know." I'm like, "This is what people don't understand." You're like, "Look, even I just saw a set where someone was like, there were signs that would say no Irish, no blacks, no dogs," and you're like, "That's racism, okay? That's but it's like it wasn't." Narrowed down for I'm like, that's why I'm like,
or even
have fun with it.
Italians were thrown in with that too, with the Irish.
Oh, definitely. I'm like, listen, Italians weren't considered white until 9/11. I'm like, that is just factually like,
I think
up until then you're like, okay, no, now they're one of ours, you know?
Before.
Yeah. But it's you're going, listen, that's why if you're gonna be funny, but you only have, like, if I hadn't listened to that kid's set, I wouldn't have been able to drop that joke. And it's a solid joke that only works for right then, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And but that's, if you're not listening, you know, you're not doing the job. And that's why, like, being a host is way harder because you're more involved, but you really get to work on the fly with certain things and just be like, because I love listening to people's sets, and I'm like, I would roast the shit out of you, you fucking loser. Because, you know, that's what I do.
Yeah, that is what he does. Like,
people get so mad when I do that too. I'm like,
for a lot of people, I think they see hosting as just, ew, I gotta host this show, but it's really, really fun.
So much fun.
It's kind of like, what's the best way I can describe it? It's the stand-up equivalent of like being the quarterback, where like you're not the one directly getting the touchdowns, right? That's the wide receiver or the running back, but like you're the one facilitating everything.
Yeah. I was going to say even like a quarterback or a conductor for an orchestra is like, yes, you're not doing it, but without you, none of this can happen. Like it's a very thankless job that only people in charge are like, that's where my money is. That's what I need to do. You're like, that's why most often a headliner will get paid and the host will get paid and nobody else gets paid, which I disagree with, but I'm like, I get it, because you're like, those are two involved jobs, right?
Which is funny because like there was this one show in Oceanside, which is like near San Diego, that I would get to be put on every 6 months because the host, it was a very hard show to get on because it's two people. It's the host, the feature, and the headliner. So when you're like still kind of new at this, the only reason I got in the pool in the first place was she was a patient of my dad's. Nepotism.
Oh.
And but that's how I got my foot through the door. However, she would invite me back every 6 months.
That's
and
fair.
Every 6 months I got to feature, and it's literally like you get 25 minutes and the headliner gets 45 minutes. And that's it. And it was pretty great. And then that place closed during COVID, and I'm sad. So
see, my thing is this: is that I had to explain this to somebody because they were like, "Oh, we have 25 comics." I'm like, "No, you don't." Like, what do you mean? I'm like, you have an equation that is going to kill your audience and just ruin your headliner.
Yes, because it's too many people, and then also what they're doing is they're hoping that those comics bring people. That's the
reason. Which you're like, absolutely not. It's not. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I try and explain to people, I'm like, if you, regardless of how long your headliner is going to go for, between minute 50 and 60, your headliner needs to be on stage. It's that from that point, after 1 hour, your headliner needs to be on stage. If they are not on stage, everyone starts to get rambunctious, and your
show must not go longer than 2 hours. Also, like,
I don't. So my thing is this: is I try and equate is that all of your shit is done by 50 minutes to an hour, like that, right? And your headliner's on stage. Your headliner may do half an hour. Your headliner may be up there for an hour and a half. Whatever it's making, if people are buying drinks and he's killing it, let it keep going. Don't care. Right?
Yeah.
But unless it's like, oh, you have a second show, then you're like, hey man, don't be a fucking asshole.
All right, keep it moving. Or if it's someone like Carol Newell, who was on our last episode,
right?
For her birthday, she does this thing called Night of 100 Comics, and that's what it is. But the way it works is it's in like hour-long chunks. So like you know, this set of people shows up, they do their set, and then like they start filing out as the new set starts filing in, and she's the common denominator, which is fine.
Yeah.
But that's the gimmick is it's going for this long, you know?
Yeah. Which is that's different because then you're like, oh, we're having batches. And then you're like, okay, so then you have these people, then these people, and these people, these people, these people. You're like, that's if anything, that's more like a festival type scenario, which I'm like, which is fine. But that's why I'm like, a lot of the times people don't realize that you're like, yeah, it's you're like an hour and a half is more than enough show. I had once where it was like 2 hours and the headliner still hadn't gone up, and I'm like, what are you doing here? They're like, oh well, people are having a good time. I'm like, no, people are exhausted. Like, because also like you can only laugh for so much. You just get fed up, and you're like, I need to feel other emotions now. And that's when people get drunk, and that is not good. You want people a little tipsy, just a little bit loosey goosey, not because then you get to do weird crowd work, and people will say stupid shit that they wouldn't say normally. It's when they get drunk, and then they're like, oh, you're going to ruin this entire time for everybody. And that is the lesson. You're like, yeah, don't do that. And also, if you want to interact with the comedian, don't.
Just don't. Talk to them after. Treat it like Broadway. Go talk to them at the stage door. Don't need to talk to them on stage. Yeah,
absolutely. Cool. That's just very. If he asked, I went with a buddy. He was like, hey, we're going up for these girls. They're kind of blowing off steam. One of them, her stepdad died or something like that. So I'm like, cool. They're like, we want to go to comedy. I'm like, that is a mistake, but sure, okay. And then they went and sat front row, and I'm like, you have somebody in a who's in an emotionally compromised situation wanting to blow off steam. You're like, you should not be in the front. You should be in the back. Why? Yep. Because number one, you're probably going to talk. Number two, you're probably going to get drunk. Number three, you're going to be a problem. And sure enough, they went on stage, and they literally, the entire 25-minute set for the headliner turned into him just dealing with them. And he did an exceptional job. But at the same time, you're like, what the hell? Like,
I love the idea of like, this was I don't want to do this for the people and the comic at the same time.
100%. And what's worse,
everybody's miserable.
What the real kicker was at the end of the show when we were outside, and they were like, oh, he wouldn't have had anything if it wasn't for us, because that show was made because of us. And I was like, I just looked at my friend and I'm like, if you're ever with these people, you got to let me know, because I can't come. I'm like, these people are crazy. And he was like, I am so sorry. I'm like, that's fine. But he's also the friend who always forgets and ends up sitting front row. And I'm like, don't do that. I'm like, he's like, oh, well, it's fun. And I'm like, is it fun? He's like, no, every time I want to cry. And I'm like, yeah, that's why. Don't do that. Don't.
Just get him to tattoo himself like Memento, where he's just like, never sit in the front row. Got it. Okay, cool.
Every time I've gone to comedy, people are like, oh, do you want to sit up front? I'm like, no. They're like, why? I'm like, because I will, number one, I will derail your set. If you attack me, because I'll have comics who will look at me and they're like, what's up, sir? And I go, yes.
Yeah. Well, because like you're interesting looking enough, right?
Which is a problem, sir.
Wow. The enough is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sense. But
yeah.
It's also kind of like the movies where you're like, I want to sit in the back. I just want to, I don't need to be like doing this, right? Looking up. Depending on how the room is set up.
I realized this the other day. We went to Cirque du Soleil up here, and which was a great experience. It was so much fun. And also like every
is it spelled differently because it's French Canadian? Or
yeah, CIRQUE. I'm like kind of
that's how it's spelled for everybody. I mean, like just because French Canadian and French.
Oh, like it's not even French, words. It's just grunts and clicks. That's how French Canadian is. So, but like every why are all their swear words weird Christian things? Like that's not.
I don't know.
It's the weirdest shit, and they're like, yeah, blah blah blah. I'm like, you're an architect? I don't know why those are swears.
They are to French, like them in New Orleans are like the two extremes of like how to bastardize French,
and both not accepted by the French.
Yes. Yeah. At least in New Orleans' case, the food is really good. They at least have that.
Listen, and I'll be honest with you, Montreal food is great, but people
really? Never been.
Not enjoyable. Not enjoyable.
I really gotta like take a trip up there one of these days.
Well, listen, well, now that things have circumstances have changed, you're welcome to come stay. It'll be fun. We'll have a great time. But like it's wild in regards to how weird they are, but they will constantly like, so we went and it was very exciting and everything, but I'm like, people are hooting and hollering and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to be in the hooting and hollering and I want to sit and observe. I don't want to be a part of the hooting and hollering. I just want to be in the middle of it and just watch.
Oh,
like a movie. I'm like,
when you say I want to be in it, I'm like, that means participating. And then you're like,
no,
I'm like, those are the two options.
No, I don't. I want to be there, not participating. I like to be. I like to observe, which sounds weird, but it's more than like that's what I just like to. I like to watch things and pick them apart in my brain because I'm crazy. But like that's. Like some people were like yelling and I want to interact. And I'm like, no, don't. I don't want to interact with anyone. It's not at all. I'm like, I have zero interest in interacting. I just want to watch the show. That's all I want. And it's apparently that's weird. So I did not realize that was weird because people were like, why aren't you clapping and yelling? I'm like, I don't need to do any of that. I'm like, no, I just like watching.
I'll do like a whistle every now and again. Like they don't really know where it comes from. You don't have to be super rowdy. You can just kind of go. I'm not going to do it this early, but you know what I mean.
I'll lightly clap.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, yeah, I'm just pretending. I don't like doing this for people. It's I'm not even sure. Like, I'll be honest with you. I used most of the pandemic to try and learn how to laugh again because this is one of those things that people don't tell you about doing stand-up comedy is it takes the I guess the whimsy out of it all because instead you're trying to pick apart how the joke is constructed and also where they're going through the whole thing. And you're like, and it kind of, for me, because I'm very OCD about that kind of stuff where I'm like, I like to, if I'm going to pick it apart, like this is what people don't realize is that as a comedian, if the audience can tell where you're going, you suck. If other comedians can tell where you're going, you're a hack. If even comedians can't tell where your punch is happening, that's gold. That's where it is. It's the whole idea is that no one should be able to predict the next thing coming out of my mouth.
Yeah, comedy
And
is based on surprise, just like horror is. Like
absolutely.
yeah.
That's interestingly enough, that's why a lot of people will laugh during scary movies, and they will become hysterical with their laughter in like haunted houses, because it's the same with Love and Hate, where you're like, they're the most polar opposite, but also both are at max level, right? It's so people switch over so quickly. Why? Because
it as a flame, right?
It's the intensity that's matching up. And same with, you're like, surprise can either be hilarious or terrifying. Like, I'm taking a dump, someone kicks the door open, hilarious. That person is a murderer, scary. But
I love the idea of like you sitting in the corner of the haunted house going and like taking notes on this. Like, wow, they are laughing hysterically.
You'll be surprised how many times I would just come out of the darkness and just, and people were like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "That's not the right response."
Or in the haunted house from this year, where like one of the kids goes "boo bruh," and I'm like, it's hilarious in the moment, and like now I can't take the rest seriously.
Not at all. Not at all. Immediately.
But the Komodo, it was so funny in the moment. Hi,
it's so hilarious. Boo, bro. You're like, what? Like that
was pretty much the cadence. It was like boo, bruh. Like it was up then down, and you're like,
that also gives off mad like Simpsons. I was saying boo earns. You're like, what? That's not the line, man. What are you doing? You know, it's very odd. But at the same time,
hams,
and steamed hams, as we used to call them.
Yeah. What's it called? So like,
sorry, I just thought of the you might remember me from such films as Get Confident, Stupid. And just like, yeah, that's not how you do that. Sorry. I had to get it out of my mind, otherwise it was gonna just rot away.
It's just gonna be Simpsons references from here on out now.
Basically, yeah. How are you doing today? I have not seen you in a while. Well, sir, you should subscribe. You'll see us all the time. Why? Because we are a rambunctious folk.
Yeah, it is very much like our upload schedule has been somewhat irregular lately for some reason or another, for him or me. It's
life has gotten
going on recently. Yeah,
I mean, I did see. So I am friends with a few people on TikTok that I don't know, but it was just, oh, you're saying funny things, I say funny things. We are both funny. Ha 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 ha. And we became friends. And hilariously, a couple of them are like, I'm done with this year. It's May and I'm over it. And I'm like, I feel you. But my year is just getting started, and I'm telling you, I'm terrified. So
this has not been a good year for me. Like,
I mean, like, see, this is the very tricky part. Oh, well, sir, I have subbed, so points for you. Ha ha! You've fallen into my trap.
Yes.
Thank
Other
you.
people follow in his footsteps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's that whole.
And then like, I don't want to. And then there's the episode.
It's that whole idea of this too shall pass, right? It's something we've talked about before. It's like something happens. It's like it's the story of the farmer where it's like his horse runs away and people are like, oh my god, that's so bad. He's like, maybe. And but his horse actually comes back and brings a whole bunch of other horses. And be like, that's so good. He goes, maybe. And then, you know, his son is taking care of these new horses, and one of them kicks him and breaks his leg. And people are like, oh, that's so sad. He goes, maybe. But shortly afterward, the military comes and they conscript everyone who's fighting age, but except his son, because he's got a broken leg. And people are like, oh, you're so fortunate. And he goes, maybe. And then you're like, so it's like, you never know if something happens is going to be good for you or bad for you. You just know that it's happening to you, right? Yeah. Which is, hey, is the one thing you don't want to hear from people. You're like, no, I'm not happy with this, and everyone else should be unhappy with this because it sucks. And you're going, okay, but maybe. And it's so it's one of those things where, especially when you're involved in the situation, you're like, I can't see it for what it is because I'm too face deep into it. Right?
Yeah, like you have stuff you got to do. Like my sister's going to be in Europe for 2 weeks, and then that means I got to pull double aging parenting duty for 2 weeks, which is hard. So
and that is 100% a hard thing. What you can do is also be like, hey, I need you two to grow up and be mature. Otherwise, we can't have ice cream on the way home. And you lay down the law and be like,
now,
hey, I'm on my own.
My dad can do that.
Yes.
My dad can do that. And which, like, in like Katie's case, where like normally you'd go, lean on your wife, but
yes.
Katie's like, if I have to deal with your mom, I'm gonna blow her brains out. And I'm like, I completely understand where you're coming from.
Absolutely.
So
Victoria,
probably what I'm gonna do is just have her deal with my dad, and I'll focus on my mom.
That's not a bad idea.
I think that's how that's gonna work.
Victoria and I discussed that from the way early on was, hey, you deal with your parents, I will deal with my parents. That doesn't mean we won't help each other.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it doesn't mean we won't help each other, but it means that if your parents are having an issue, that's your responsibility. That's not my responsibility. I'm happy to help, right? But I'm not the primary for those things. I'm your support in that situation.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, which is why I'm not like asking her to come with me very often. Like, just do what's comfortable for you, but I'm saying where I'm going, and I'm gonna come home in a bad mood a lot of the time. But
I think that's a valid point of communication. You're going, hey, I have to do this thing because it's the right thing to do, and as much as I dislike it or whatever, I have to go do it. I'm letting you know because I'm going to come back and be all shitty. Why? Because I don't want to have to do it, but somebody has to do it, so it falls on me. Which is, I'm like, having people understand. That's why, like, okay, perfect example was Victoria was like, it started snowing. Well, the first time it started snowing, and I'm like, okay, I'll go shovel the driveway. And she's like, do you want help? I said, no, you have your own responsibilities. Now, I was not clear on what those responsibilities were. Those responsibilities are to make sure when I come inside, I get hot cocoa. That is your job. I will shovel the driveway and you make me hot cocoa. That is my reward. This is the only purpose of this whole thing happening. Also, too, if you come out
do
and
it
help
another time, but this time I'm shoveling the driveway.
No, I don't want your help shoveling the driveway ever in any circumstances. If anything, I get enraged by watching people shovel the driveway because I'm like, I being a land monster, I go on once, I start at the top and I shovel all the way down in one strip. And you're like, yeah, that's not what humans can do. That's what machines do. And I'm like, yes, but I am big leg donkey. So I get to do it myself. And then I'm like, I will shovel and then I will.
Yeah. I am big leg donkey.
So I'm like, right. I will shovel one strip and then I will launch that snow 20 feet into my yard. Why? Because I am big leg donkey. This is. I'm like, so when I see, like, I remember my father-in-law was like, hey, I feel bad for Dino. I'll go help. And he has like what looks like to me, like, those sand shovels you do for like, I'm playing on the beach. I'm going to make a sand castle, that kind of shovel. Okay. And he like shovels, walks 5 steps, shovel. And I'm just like, hey, can you just walk away? Just
go on the porch. I am big leg donkey. Get out of the way.
You need help? I go, you know what I could use help is, I'm like, you can shovel the walkway. So I'm like, in the time it takes you to shovel the 15-foot walkway, I've shoveled the driveway. And I'm like, I just don't want you in my way because I'm not looking where you are, and I will launch snow and it will cover you head to toe, like just immediately.
Like a cartoon. And
basically
eyes popping out.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, don't come near me. I'm working here. And that's it's always one of those things where people are like, why are you so? I'm like, listen, I don't mind shoveling the driveway. I actually enjoy it. I find it good exercise. It's also, you're in the cold air, so you kind of, it's an experience. But I'm like, I hate vacuuming and I hate mowing the lawn. So I'm like, those are the trade-offs. I'm like, I've
never had a lawn, so I've never had to mow it, but
it's the dumbest shit. Why am I growing shit I need to cut every 2 weeks? How dare you? This is stupid. The whole thing is stupid.
Vacuuming I get, but I always found it a little satisfying because seeing all the things like, be absorbed into my machine. Like, I don't know. That's something that I always kind of enjoyed.
Listen,
the thing that I hate the most out of all of the like chores you got to do all the goddamn time. There's a picture I found of Sisyphus, where, and then on the boulder he's rolling, it just says the fucking dishes and the fucking laundry. Yeah, that's adulthood.
So the wild thing is this: I don't mind doing dishes, and I don't mind doing the laundry. Not at all. Like those are. I'm like,
I'm cool with both. I hate cooking and I hate meal prepping. Those are the two things that drive me the most up the goddamn wall. Because it's the choice of it all. Whereas like the the dishes and the laundry, there's no choice there. It's just like do the thing.
Yes.
Whereas with the meal prepping, you have this like, what am I going to do with all the stuff in my fridge? What do I need to make meals that are like kind of healthy, but also what am I going to feel like? How do I not get burned out? It's just too goddamn much to me.
This is it's one of those things where like that's my go-to meal. If we're staying in and I'm trying to be healthy, is a bunch of boiled eggs, half a cup of Greek yogurt, 1 avocado, some feta cheese. Now we've added a few pickled things, so like pickled daikon, pickled garlic, and pickled red onion, which we get from a Japanese place. It's actually really delicious. So I'm like, and then I will douse it in hot sauce. And I'm like, it is very healthy. It is about like 1,200 calories, depending on how many eggs. Oh, an avocado smash with eggs.
Avocado smash. Okay.
Yeah. And but like those, you're like, you get good fats from your avocado, you got carbohydrates from your yogurt. I use a high protein yogurt as well, which I'm like, so I'm not getting a lot less sugar.
You get protein from the egg too.
I get protein from the egg. I get protein from the feta cheese as well. I get a little zing from the hot sauce, and then the pickled stuff is also just very healthy for you. And if you time everything right, you can finish with a daikon, which will keep your mouth kind of refreshed. Nice.
Daikon?
Daikon radish.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So like all those things you're going, it's a well-balanced meal. And because it's got a lot of hot sauce on it too, like you can throw stuff, little things in there every once in a while seasonally. So it's not
very customizable.
Very customizable. But also like it's very, very protein heavy. It's very, very healthy for you. It has good fats in it, and it won't block you up when like that was one of the things like carnivore diet will back you up because you're like it's just so protein heavy and you're like I have nothing.
Yeah, when I was doing keto while titrating up on the seizure meds.
Yeah,
that was the worst. For sure.
And you have to that's what a lot of people don't realize is like when you're eating a heavy protein based diet, you have to have also a lot of really good fats because that turns your body into less of a desert when it comes to moving poop and more of a slip and slide where it's got it's everything just poof it works but
like I know avocado and like fish has a lot of good.
Yeah, fish does too. Yeah.
So I ate a lot of fish during that time. Salmon and tuna and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where like, that was a little bit of a breakthrough for me. Just like, wow, now I know why I hate cooking so much. The like choice paralysis you get from it.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, Katie hates doing the laundry and the dishes because it's like menial. But to me, I'm kind of a daydreamer of a person anyway, so I can just sort of like let my mind go where it wants to go.
It lets me disassociate, like especially doing folding laundry and doing the dishes, where I'm just like I'm like my mind is going all sorts of places,
listening to something. Like it does not bother me at all. Like,
no, because I'm like, if it doesn't squeak between my fingers, then it's not clean enough. So I just keep on cleaning. And it squeaks. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Next.
It's like brushing your teeth. If your teeth squeak when you do that, that's how you know they're clean-ish at least.
It's okay. They're rolling out free dental care for everyone, including so up until recently it wasn't included in our healthcare plan, but now they're like it was open to seniors and now they're trying to open up to everyone else. And I'm like, bro, I'm gonna get some grills. I'm gonna see if I can get them paid for. Just all diamonds.
Great. I never understood why like your teeth and your eyes are like just not part of health insurance. Very annoying.
It is very. I think it was their. They've been holding that at bay just because cash grab. Whereas now, when everything's included, you're like, nothing should be excluded. Like the idea that you would work off a premise that things, we're not going to do that. We're not going to include that. Why? Does nobody have that? Like, no, lots of people have that. Then why are you excluding it? Like, that's counterproductive, right?
covered California recently, which is like the Affordable Care Act version for California. They recently added like psych as a
sure. You guys need it. No question.
Yeah, definitely.
Everyone needs it. But it was a
no, definitely. And like I keep telling specifically my students this because like at a 99% Latino school where therapy is very stigmatized, especially if you're a boy,
definitely.
right?
Yes.
If your house has a lot of machismo in it, they're like, therapy. I'm like, look, it's not like you have to fix something particular. You're not broken. It's work. It's like brushing your teeth or washing your ass. It's just like a thing you do to keep everything squeaky clean up here. Therapy is great. Yes, it is.
100%. So, but this is the thing is it serves different purposes, right? So like, especially for myself, when I was in therapy, it was more so that I'm like, I needed verification that my perspective wasn't wrong. Because I'm very much like I don't have issues that I'm like, oh, I don't know how to deal with that situation. No, I definitely know how to deal with that situation. Whatever the situation is, I got a plan. The problem is I need an everything's okay alarm to know that I'm not being crazy. Right. And that's what
I have something similar where like I'm afraid of just being wrong. Like even that connects to the cooking thing. Or like, what if I picked the wrong thing? You know?
Yeah.
And again, that's not a specific problem, that's a general problem. So
it comes down to that, like that as you said before, the whole paralysis by analysis is super. So like I think it's very age relevant in that the more you know, the more exposed you are to the consequences of your decisions. So you're kind of like, well, I want to make the right decision. You're like, yes, but that's not life. Life isn't about the successful decisions. It's about what you learn from making the wrong decisions, which is
I don't
like
want to make the wrong decision.
No. See, and I try and make sure people understand this. It's like I'm very much someone who is duty bound, and throughout my entire mental health journey, I have always learned that if somebody else needs something of me, I will prioritize that over my own well-being consistently. That's not, whereas if it's just for myself, I will. That's literally the first thing to get thrown on the back burner, right? So now it's become a whole thing where I'm like, oh, like, so I stretch every morning, I work out every day, and like I have to calculate, oh, I can take a day off today because I'm feeling overwhelmed for XYZ reasons, and then it's so much harder to start again next day, but I have to process all of that, and I'm like, I'm not doing it because I don't have time. I'm not doing it because my muscles need to recover. I'm not feeling good, so I'm going to take the day off. Not because, oh, well, there was no time, right? No, I have to prioritize my own mental health, right? And it's the same thing for me, like with doing mushrooms. I'm like, yeah, I'm the final boss in my existence. I need to find a way to fix me now, right? And that's even like Victoria Well-Tester is like, yeah, I'll do mushrooms in the next couple of days. I am happy like a pig in shit. Why? Because my mind is just very unreleased of all the garbage that I throw into it, right?
Like you were saying, new snow on a hill, right?
100%. And that's, and I'm like, the problem is that that I don't like, I need a day. I need a day with no one's around where I can just do what I do and be there. But
Katie was calling it, like, she calls it rotting, which is like negative connotation, but she's like, these are the things you need to call it rotting. One, some sort of media, book, TV show, something that you are consuming. Two, you have nowhere to be during that time. Like it's the evening or it's the weekend or someone just canceled on you. You have nowhere to be.
Perfect.
And three, like comfy. So it's not like you're out in the world. You have to be like at home in your pajamas or in a robe or whatever.
See,
those are the three things that make it rotting.
She calls it rotting. I call it fermentation.
Yes.
It's the same process. It's just such a much more flavorful, enjoyable experience.
I just wish she would call it something less negative sounding, because it's like, it's not a bad thing. It's just
I call it, there's been times when Victoria's like, hey, did you work out? Yeah, what are you doing right now? Just fermenting. Just I'm just
That's the Canadian way to say it.
yeah, I'm fermenting. Just yeah. What was it? I'm marinating. I'm just marinating,
Also
just
good.
sitting
Yeah.
here preparing. Because number one, who doesn't I had this conversation yesterday where I'm like, food is the only international language barrier the world over. Food is the only thing that can unite mankind.
Totally.
And I'm 100% of that opinion.
I used to say on Last Minute History a lot that like the three things that every culture invents is some kind of sword,
yes,
alcohol of some
yep,
kind, usually beer,
yep.
and fried food. 2/3 of that are food and or drink. So yeah, that makes sense.
It's 100% like every civilization that has not been like, oh, a lost in every civilization that has lasted the test of time has had those things.
Yes.
It's
And then like somebody was like, what about dumplings? I'm like, throw that in with fried food because that's usually
100%.
the same thing.
Oh,
not always.
It's a some sort of signature dish. And that can be meat related, like fried stuff, like all those things factor in, but it's something that really zings. And frying or barbecuing are definitely interchangeable, just because some people they're like, oh, it's about cooking meat a certain way. That's their thing, right?
Good. It's good.
Like, because but you're like, have you ever had something off a grill and you're like, oh, this tastes like shit, and you're like it will ruin your entire day, and you're like,
undercooked,
well, not just
worse,
undercooked, undercooked, overcooked, straight the wrongly seasoned. Like if you use the wrong season on a certain food, you're like, it doesn't taste right. It messes with your palate. No.
What's worse? Undercooked, we're like, ew, this chicken's pink on the inside. Or I'm eating a baseball glove. Which is the worst one, in your opinion? Like
baseball
the
glove.
reaction. Baseball glove?
Always
I
baseball
think
glove.
Because with the chicken, you can, like with the undercooked, you can fix it. Just throw it back on for a little bit longer. But when you have the baseball glove, usually the baseball glove people think it's a good thing.
Yes.
Right? Where they're just like, here, well done, the way it's supposed to be. And you're like, no, the fuck, it's not.
No, yeah.
You know?
That's one of those things where, like, up until I was 10 years old, my mom would make steaks well done. And I didn't like steaks. And
it's
then
like my mom with the eggs. Same thing.
Yeah. You're like, well, that's how it's supposed to be. You're like, no, it's not. It's not. It doesn't taste good. Right.
Yeah.
And well,
it's supposed to be its own sauce. You don't need to get A1 steak sauce. Like it does it by itself if you do it correctly.
I always like dousing my eggs in ketchup, and that is called sugar addiction. That's not ketchup. Ketchup is not a healthy sauce for anything.
Yeah,
it's not good for you.
Like tomatoes, so that was never really part of my MO. But
this is the thing is like if you eat, like we went out to a steakhouse and I'm like, I don't really like steak, and my brother's like, order it medium rare, and I'm like, you mean bloody? He's like, just trust me. So okay, I ordered medium rare, and my first bite, there was a light above me opened, the heavens sung, and I was like, what is this? Why? And my mom's like, I thought you don't like steak, and I'm like, I don't like your steak. I'm like, this is delicious. And since then, she started learning how to cook things medium rare, and she's like, oh, it's way better. And I'm like, I know. I'm like, this, but for them, it was like Captain America said. He's like, we used to boil our food a lot just because it kills everything. And you're like, yeah, including flavor. You're like, why would you do that?
Yeah,
it's
that's for necessity, not for flavor.
Yeah,
and like the with like steak and stuff like that. I was talking with a friend about the difference between cringe and embarrassment.
Yes.
Because specifically, a lot of our, your students are like, ew, that's cringe. And I'm like, look, just because you think it is, I don't care. And I think the difference is that cringe is only one of the parties is embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
And embarrassment is everybody's like, the person is embarrassed and everyone else is like, ooh, that's rough.
Yeah. Cringe is where
it's a two-sided thing.
100%. Well, it's cringe is someone thinks very highly of themselves and they're looking down on whatever. And you're like, okay, that's a you problem.
Or there's like a different kind of cringe where you're just like, I know that you think this is cringe, but I don't care. Not in like a looking down way, but just like I'm gonna enjoy what I enjoy, which is kind of a theme of this show, is like learning to enjoy yourself as you get older.
100%. And I'll be honest with you, I think that that is one of the biggest components that will affect your mental health as you get older, is that finding joy in just being around is a huge thing. Where like I remember watching old people just sit on their porch and just watching the street, and you're like, oh, that's what a waste of time. And then you're going, oh, it's a great afternoon. You just sit in the shade with a nice drink, maybe a book.
Especially if you're a writer, like you're sitting there just like, okay, ideas for stories, or like you go to like a bench in the park and just watch the people.
Absolutely. You know? Or in my case, you take 7 grams of mushrooms and you let your wall just tell the story for you. It's wonderful. I'll be looking at a blank wall and I'm like, this movie.
You're killing me here. It's like,
it's true. That's the whole thing, is that there are right ways to do things and wrong ways to do things. Right. And that's, I think, one of the hardest things, where you kind of, it comes back to that whole patience thing where you're like, you can't just immediately, I love your saying, you can't yuck on someone's yum just because.
Again, that's my cousin's, but yeah.
I don't give a shit. Okay. We're taking it by force.
Yeah. Fine. Yeah.
History has decided. But
we should get my cousin on here. She'd be fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it's one of those ideas where you're like, yeah, if you are just out there hating for the sake of hate, you're like, yeah, that's crazy. But it's
exhausting. It's exhausting to be that kind of person.
It really is. It really is. There's no reason. Like, I'm a grumpy person by nature. Like, this is my normal face is this, and that's why it's resting murder face. But
the star does a lot of the work for me.
100%. Yeah. If you get into an accident where you have to have like a peg leg, I'm telling you, like, and no one is going to believe you're anything other than a pirate. Like, that's.
I'm surprised I haven't done that as a Halloween costume. That's so easy for me. I could do that. I could do Vegeta one year with the Widow's Peak. Yeah.
You have to, sir. You have to.
I have to. Yeah. I'm
I'm
not short though, so that doesn't work very well.
That's all right. Get a really, really, really long blonde wig and just be like, I'm Kakarot, and just have some electricity, just shoot people. Yeah, I'm telling you, we can make it work. I'm one of those believers that's like, if you're duty bound to do something, why not just do it with a smile anyway? Right? Totally. You're not gonna get away from it. It's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, you can hate it all you want, but all you're doing is ruining your own time, which that sounds horrible, right?
Yeah. But like, where you have something that's a very solemn duty.
Yeah.
And the reason that our upload schedule has been irregular as of late, for both of us,
Yeah.
Or like I'm trying to find the joy in it. And it's hard sometimes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm like that. This is the thing, is that you have to go through emotions regardless, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where like, I've had people tell me that I'm heartless, and I'm like, no, I give the proper amount of time and responsibility and emotion to XYZ thing, and I've learned through therapy, to be honest, was that's enough, and you can move on. And it's super difficult because you feel like you're betraying people's memories, or just the idea that you can do better than you should have. You're like, no. It's one thing to do what you're responsible for. It's another thing to be like, oh well, I have to do it the best I could. No. That's that. If I was doing that, I'd be paid, and I'm not. So let's just calm down. I'm doing what I'm responsible to do because I'm a good person, and I'm doing my duty. After that, my time is my time. You can't. It's the same idea where someone's like, "Oh, you're on salary, but so I can call you at any time." You can't. No, you can't. This is time with my family. Don't bother me, right? So it's also about boundaries and that kind of stuff. Where like, especially I like to enjoy myself doing things, and I'm not going to let somebody else ruin my time just because, well, you should be unhappy. No, that's
Yeah.
ridiculous. You know?
I, like Katie was telling me about this, where my family has this problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Katie coming from an Italian family, they very much get their grievances out in the open, but it
Sure.
resolves much quicker instead of boiling under the surface.
Yes.
And she's totally right. And I want to be better about it, and I'm like working on it in therapy and stuff. But like, she pointed out that like your sister and you are making an appointment to make a plan instead of just making the plan. And she's right. And maybe it's because I don't know what's around the corner and I'm afraid of what's going to happen, or maybe it's just the same thing where like I'm afraid whatever it is that I'm going to suggest is wrong. Who knows? But maybe I should just kind of like try and find joy where you can, right?
Definitely, but also too, and this is one thing that I try and we've discussed a few times, was that I have a problem where people don't think I'm I do my work. I've had this issue my entire career, whereas I'm very good at what I do because I invest a lot of time behind closed doors about it.
Right.
That's just how my brain works. But at the same time, like you have discussed many times, is like if you're walking around with a clipboard, people won't bother you.
Right.
And you're like, there is an art to looking busy. I personally have worked with people who people are like, man, that guy's always working. And I was like, that guy's the laziest piece of shit who's done nothing. And people are like, no, he's always productive. And people will look at me and say, you don't do anything. And I'm like, I did everything. What are you talking about? And it's only a perception thing, right? So it's even as a fat guy, a lot of people are like, hey, you shouldn't be successful because you're fat. And I'm like, but I'm better than you, I should be successful. And they're like, no. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me, right? It doesn't compute. So in the same sense, I think it's one of those things where we allow those perspectives. Victoria says, you got to just work smart, not hard. No, I am too smart. I am too smart to not work hard.
It's called optics. And like there's a problem where like, especially with Dino and I, where we're just kind of like, you know, you make a joke out of stuff a lot, right?
Way too much. Yes.
But people tend to think you're an unserious person by doing that. And like a big part of my 30s has been like learning to be the more serious Atlas, and like either to my students where like I'm, you know, I am an authority figure.
Yes.
Or to my family where like now shit's getting serious. My parents are in the winter of their lives. Like and just knowing to take charge of like focusing on my dad, or like when my sister calls upon me to keep an eye on my mom, I will step up for what's needed. And yes, she may say that I can't afford my own life and cause me to snap a little bit and make sure she gets the goddamn glasses, but she got the goddamn glasses. So
this is where you know, I might start sending these to you. Is I like negative life affirmations.
Interesting.
Such as you're going to be successful, you have no choice.
Interesting.
It's very much where you're like, that's a good point. I don't have a choice now. I have no choice in how this plays out. I can only be true to myself. And it's like,
I am the one thing in life I can control, right?
I mean, it's such a weird concept because we keep on being you know, just force fed this idea. They're like, the world is our community. No, it isn't. I don't care. You know what I can control? Right here. These 3 feet. And you know what? This is my kingdom and I get to choose. And as much as that is a maybe a little bit narcissistic or selfish, fine, no problem. It's more so that it's your damn right. It is your damn right to decide how you feel in these 3 feet. And I will be damned if someone's going to tell me going, no, you should feel differently. I'm like, no, I feel however way I want to feel, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. And that's one of those things where, like, oh man, there was a couple times where like my one brother was he was the funniest of us all. And
Dino can't have that. He's got to be the
absolutely
funniest.
That's 100% factual. So sure enough, we were at the Greek consulate because we were getting some paperwork done, and it was me, my mom, and two of my brothers. And he made one jab at me, and I ruined him to the point where my mom is like, "You have to stop talking. I'm going to piss my pants." Which I'll tell you right now, I love making people piss their pants. Like that is the highlight of my day if I can make somebody piss their pants.
Whether from laughter or from painting yourself like a monster.
Absolute fear or laughter, both are qualified. And he ended up saying, you're a jerk. And I was like, I won. Just know that I won, and you had nothing to say, right? And it was very much a very proud moment for why so early.
So Dino has a lunch with people he's not really looking forward to, and I could only go earlier, not later. So that's why today's so early. Hi, Cole. Hope you're doing well.
Hello. Yeah. But yeah, so it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't mind it necessarily. It's just kind of like I don't have anything to talk about at this breakfast, at the lunch. And I'm like, also too, I've never been to this restaurant, so I don't know what they have. And
are you one of those people who has to look up the menu before they get there?
I look at menus that I'm not even going to the restaurant, and I'm just like, ooh, if I ever go there, I'm going to order this.
Like you're like one of those people who like doom scrolls on Zillow, but for menus, you're just like
100%. Yeah, that is.
That's great.
It's like 4 a.m. in LA. Also true. Yeah,
dude, it's 8 a.m. now. It was 7 when we started. I get up at 5:30 for work anyway. It's not very different for me.
Basically 4 a.m. That's 100%.
Oh my god, you people suck.
Hey, we started at 10 a.m. for me, and I was like, I barely was awake at 9, and I was like, I need to set the show up. I may be drunk right now. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, yeah. Anything else? Fuck. Just anybody. Anything else we wanted to say before we head out?
No, I think that's it. I think we've covered everything. I feel like that's one of those things where people should understand, do your duty, but that doesn't mean that you have to have a bad time doing it, and it doesn't mean that you have to smile while doing it. It's those smile by your own terms, but also don't let somebody make sure you have a bad time. No, I'm going to enjoy what I'm doing because I enjoy it, not because of anything you do.
Yeah.
Is how I woke up at 9:30 and I'm not happy about
Jim made it. He says,
Jim, hey, Jim, you have a wonderful day too. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks everybody for listening to Generation Dan. You can follow us at Generation Dan, pretty easy, on Instagram or Blue Sky or any of those. We stream every Sunday. The new episodes come out on Friday, sometimes Saturday, because I'm a busy person when it comes to the uploading, but roughly near the end of the week. Yeah. Where can people find and follow you? Dino?
Dino the Genetic Marvel right here. I am very stalkable, and and also I can't run very fast. So you're going to find me. I'm out there. And if you don't enjoy my company, that's a you problem. You should talk to somebody about it. That's very reasonable. So
what about all the other shows, Hammered and Cheese and all that?
Honestly, so this week itself is going to be kind of the last week where we're not going crazy. So we have so next week we have what was it? It's called, let me see if I have a picture. Aha! Lord of the Wings. It is going to be happening next Sunday. And,
right. I forgot about this. Yeah. Is this this was like a multi-part series, wasn't it?
No. This is going to be just a whole contest. We have these hot sauces.
Oh, right.
Already.
It's a marathon.
And we're Cole is going to ruin my life, but I am going to be driving down to Cleveland on Saturday. So and then we're going to spend a couple days doing stuff, and so it's kind of this week we have Life of Giants on Monday. We have motherfucking Mondays at noon on Upside Down Studios. Then we have Wednesday is What the Fuck Wednesday. Thursday is Mental Health. And then Saturday's going to be Hammered and Cheese. And we're hoping, if traffic works out, I'm going to be in person live there. And that's 50-50 because like who knows what's going to happen with traffic. Also, Victoria's like, we're going to Cracker Barrel on our way. And I'm like, that's fine because we don't have Cracker Barrel up here. And Cracker Barrel is delicious. Especially on Thursdays, it's always Thanksgiving. I'm like, that is a great invention. It's genius.
Dope logo for Lord of the Wings. He's right. Who made it? Did he make it?
He did make it. He did make it. Yeah,
nice. It is a dope logo. You can find me at Atlas Novak wherever fine social medias are found. On Blue Sky, on Instagram, on TikTok. I mostly just do sketches about what it's like to be a teacher. Or have epilepsy. Recently, I'm doing like different teachers at the end of the year. Like, so you have like the one who tries to introduce a unit way too late, the one who uses all their PTO at once, the one who goes on all the field trips, that kind of stuff.
Every one of them looks frazzled. Every one of them looks frazzled. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we're all insane by like May.
Yeah, totally reasonable.
Let's see. And during the summer, because I'm not teaching, I become a little bit of a basement goblin. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, there's that. I'm on various stand-up shows. If you're in LA on June 8th, which is a Sunday, I am on the Laugh Riot Girl Comedy Festival. You can follow my social medias for the link for that. I'll be like doing the like repost as we get closer and such. And then if you also want to check out a trading card game called Card Fight Vanguard, there is a show that I'm on called Nexus at Night that streams every Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific. Because of my crazy schedule these next few weeks, it might just be my other two hosts besides me.
Yeah,
but we'll see how it goes. I'm not really sure what it's going to be like. I think as we get to mid-June, I should be back to normal, but we'll see.
I'll be honest with you. If you said Basement Goblin, all I can picture is you wearing that green shirt, dressed kind of like Shaggy, and somebody's like, oh, "I'm just gonna go down to my basement, turn on the light," and you're just like eating chips. You're like, "Hey, what's up?"
Zoink Scoop!
Yeah,
get out of my basement.
Fantastic idea. Yeah.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.